So, first things first, obviously, just by the title, you should know this is not a spoiler free zone. So, if you're still here, you probably shouldn't have clicked on the video. Um, in this video, I do want to cover lots of things, including some of the characters, what I thought of the performances, and obviously what I thought of the movie overall. And I want to talk about Easter eggs and other things like that in the movie, and my rating on the movie. Normally, I do not give like a 10 out of 10 on a movie or a 5 out of 5 or any type of score, but, just my general thoughts is what I mean by that. And I'm not going by what other people say, because whatever I think of it is what I think of it. And if you really are against Solo a Star Wars story, then I don't know why you're here also. But if you're on board just as much as I was and am, then stick around and enjoy the video. Let's get to Solo, a Star Wars story movie review. First thing I would definitely like to talk about is my initial thoughts on the movie before I even saw it, when I first heard of it, and go from there. I have mentioned this in my other video, of just my overall thoughts of Star Wars 8 and what I think in Star Wars 9 is going to happen, some of the things, and just the upcoming Star Wars movies in general, but I didn't talk about it too much, so let's get to it. So, my first initial thoughts was, so they're making another Star Wars movie, because, I remember hearing about it, but I didn't know what it was going to be, and then found out it was Solo, and I thought, just like as everybody else did, is it going to be like with Harrison Ford? But then obviously, we very quickly noticed that it was not. At first I was like, oh, that's just terrible, because you can't have Han Solo without Harrison Ford. They're one and the same. So, how's that even possible? But over time, the more and more I learned about it and Saul of Alden Ehrenreich, I hope I'm saying his last name correctly, I'm pretty sure I am, and stuff like that, just overall character and how he is, and just, learning more, I actually grew. It grew on me, and I was completely, on board with the film over time. So that's basically where I was until I saw the film. And when I say until I saw the film, that does not mean my perspective changed. Once seeing the film, I really did. I enjoyed Alden Ehrenreich's performance of Han Solo. I thought he did a fantastic job, and many people probably don't think so, but I thought so. And one thing I kept in mind is that we know that Harrison Ford, was Han Solo and stuff, and, he did a fantastic job at it, because, he pretty much created Han Solo by, his first performance as him. But this is a Han Solo younger. I can't remember the exact, I think he's either 19, maybe 20 in this movie, or both, based on when the movie, I think the beginning of the movie, and then him going into kind of in a little bit into the Empire. That's like a year later, so I think he's 19 then 20. I may be wrong, but I'm sure there's other videos out there to explain that and stuff, or you can do the math yourself. But I'm just speculating like really quick, because it's 10 years before A New Hope, which he was 29, so that would make him around that age somewhere. Depending, I guess, on if the 10 years difference is actually true. But, anyway, back to what I was talking about. I just really thought that he could have been good, but there's a chance that maybe he wouldn't be good enough. But actually watching the movie and stuff, I thought he was fantastic, like I said, and it actually, shocked me a little bit. He had the right type of, just the way he acted and talked and stuff like Han Solo, but like I was saying, what you want to keep in mind for this film is that this is Han Solo years before A New Hope. He is not going to act the same way, and yeah, people develop over time. Like, you know, if you're 18, you're not going to act the same as when you're like 35. You develop as a human being, and you get different, attitudes towards things, and a different way of looking at situations and stuff like that. And that's basically what he is. He's human. He's not a cartoon character where over their time they don't develop. They just kind of stay in the same, and you enjoy that, which is nice, but for a movie with real people, that's not a good thing. That's unrealistic. So I am actually very happy that he didn't go full Harrison Ford. He was more in between. And to quote Tropic Thunder, if you guys have seen it, never go full retard. In this case, never go full Harrison Ford when playing a young Han Solo. Never go full Harrison Ford. Never go full Harrison Ford. And if you guys have not seen Tropic Thunder, then you have no idea what I'm talking about, but I thought that kind of fit. But, anyway, yeah, so that's basically my thoughts on his performance. I thought, the way he, just, not even just the way he acted, but I thought the hair was nice and, stuff. This is things that don't matter as much, but, the jacket, they didn't just, it's like, oh, it's a young Han Solo, okay, and then they just gave him the same exact outfit Harrison Ford had, pretty much. But no, they didn't. They stayed within Han Solo's style, but they made it his own because, like I said before, they're not cartoons. They change clothes. So I don't think that was like a big issue for people. I think the big issue with people was it not being Harrison Ford. And with me, it would be nice if there was a time machine or something to make Harrison Ford, 19 or 20 years old just for this film, put him in a machine and it makes him younger. See, that'd be nice, but you can't do that. So this is the best we're going to get, and I think it is the best that we could have got that isn't Harrison Ford. I really don't think there's anybody else that could have really done this that I can think of. I'm sure there's people out there, but most of the people I've seen that people say should play Harrison Ford are not really actors. They're just people that can make an impression of him. And you can't take someone who can just do an impression and say, oh, they should play this person, because they're going to suck at it. They're not an actor. They have to go through acting school. And actually, on the making of Solo, I remember hearing that he actually had to have some acting, people had to tell him certain things to do because, obviously, it's a lot of pressure. I mean, I actually kind of feel bad for him a little bit, like, not in a bad way, like, poor him or whatever, but it would be tough to have to play such an iconic character and make it, people not hate you for it. And I actually do not know what this movie got on Rotten Tomatoes, and I honestly don't care. Rotten Tomatoes is bullcrap to me. Same thing with Last Jedi, like, what it got was just like, give me a break, okay? Because it's just very inconsistent, and I actually think Rotten Tomatoes should just, maybe Rotten Tomato itself to a 0, because it's just stupid. I don't like Rotten Tomatoes. It's dumb. And most of the time, people see a score and they're like, ooh, okay, and then, they choose their opinion on what they see on Rotten Tomatoes. Other people are more like, they keep with what they, know and like, and, that's what I do. And then there's some people who hear an opinion and just automatically agree with it, even if that's not really exactly what they think, and they just kind of think that way just to think that way. Like, there's people that don't like the prequels, that's okay, I have no problem with that, but you can't get away from the prequels, and we'll definitely be talking about that. If you are a human being that only enjoys the original trilogy era, so I'm talking Star Wars, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, so Rogue One, Solo as well, and 7 and 8, if you're a person who only likes that era, but not the prequels, then, I mean, yeah, you just can't get away from the prequels. And like I said, we'll be talking about that in a little while here. Next, I want to talk about some of the other supporting characters, such as Lando, Kira, and Beckett, and I think Val or Vale. I think it's Val, which was Beckett's lover. I guess I don't know if they were married or what was going on there, but they're partners, and also Dryden Voss, I believe is how you say that, and Paul Bettany's character, which I cannot remember his name, but I definitely want to talk about him as well. Okay, so first let's talk about Lando. I thought Donald Glover did a fantastic job. I wouldn't say he did better than Alden Ehrenreich, but I think he got the portrayal of Lando, where you can actually like instantly pinpoint, oh whoa, and like say it's really good, even if you're not like a big, person to think that another person playing another person's character is good, if you know what I mean. So I didn't think he was better or any less good than Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo, but you can immediately like say, oh whoa, okay, that's Lando right there. But even though I've already talked about Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo, I'm obviously going to bring it up several times in this video. I would say at first you know it's Han Solo. You get the essence of Han Solo immediately, I think, but it takes a little while until he becomes a little bit more of the Han Solo we know. Lando, it's instant. Like he acts the same as he does. He was just one of those people. And like I said, people don't normally act the same throughout their whole life, but some people stay within the same realm of personality, and Lando does. He isn't as experienced and stuff like that. He's younger, and probably I would say maybe a little bit more cocky than he is in Empire Strikes Back. So, yeah. I mean, even though he wasn't only in Empire Strikes Back, but that's where we get the, the cockiness mostly. So, yeah, so I thought he did a fantastic job, so great job for him and great job for Alden Ehrenreich. And Kiara, or I'm pretty sure is how you say it. Feel like I'm saying it wrong. Kira is what I meant to say, sorry. Played by Emilia Clarke. I thought her character was fantastic, just like the other two, and she had a lot more to her than I thought. I thought she was just going to be like a used-to-be love interest friend of Han Solo, and as they grew up, they completely grew apart and maybe even hated each other. Kind of like Han Solo and Leia, they kind of don't get along. I thought they would have that kind of relationship. They really didn't. They actually, felt for each other, and they cared about each other a lot, and they were friends, obviously, and, also loved each other. And I thought her character had a lot more to her than I originally thought. I thought, like I said, she would just be kind of, there, but, just kind of like a love interest that, he doesn't really care about, or something like that. I thought she would just be kind of in the movie. But I liked that she was in the movie a lot more and had to do with the story a lot. She really did. She really made up the story. Without her, the movie probably would not be the same, and I thought she did a terrific job, so fantastic job there. Beckett is also another character. I really thought that he did a great job. Woody Harrelson did a fantastic job as Beckett. He did remind me of the type of guy that Han Solo could have definitely got the way he acts from. He didn't necessarily act like Han Solo does, I would say, but he had some of the, some of the little personality traits that we know Harrison Ford's Han Solo has when he is older. So I thought he was great. I thought the essence of the movie where he told him not to trust anybody, and later in the movie you get to see why he said that is because he turns on Han Solo, and we get to see Han Solo, for sure, with no speculation or argument or analysis for almost 30 years, Actually, yeah, 30 years, almost over 30 years of arguing whether Han shot first. He definitely shot first. He immediately shot first before Beckett could even finish his sentence. So, yeah, no argument there. And I even like that Beckett wasn't really angry at him for it. He said, it was such a smuggler thing. Like, you won, and they just, they understand. There's an understanding. There's no, like, no one getting butthurt or anything. I mean, because he's dying, so why get butthurt when you know you're going to die? So I thought it was good, and that definitely was an impact on Han Solo, and that is definitely going to make him more of a, character that, as we know, as he is in A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi and even Star Wars 7, a character that just, he cares about things, but he also doesn't. He's not quick to help anybody out. But, he does his best, and his main thoughts are himself, Chewbacca, and the Millennium Falcon. That is his main three first thoughts on his mind, especially in A New Hope. So he just wants to get paid, stuff like that, and I can see where that came from, and where his harshness came from, especially having to kill someone that he actually, I would say, looked up to in a short amount of time and learned a lot from in a short amount of time, and then killing him because it was either Han Solo getting shot or him, because Woody Harrelson's character Beckett was going to shoot him, so one or the other, and he did it. So I definitely thought that was a great choice and pretty awesome as a little nod to the Han Solo shot first, because he definitely shot first this time. Next, I would like to talk about Val, or Vale, however, I'm pretty sure it's Val. It's spelled V-A-L. I thought she was an okay character. She was kind of, blown off real quick. Hopefully it doesn't sound too inappropriate. But, what I mean is, literally, she was, blown up. But I thought her time on screen, I thought she was pretty cool. I mean, I actually kind of wish she stuck around a little longer. But then again, you gotta lose some to gain some, because, we gained Lando, and then, obviously, you just, a lot of other interactions, and it was actually kind of fitting, but, I thought she was a cool character. So, she had a nice attitude towards her and stuff like that, and someone that, even Han Solo himself could have, looked up to at one point. Maybe he could have taken something off her, I don't know what, but, just personality. Who knows? But, yeah, I actually don't know the actress' name that played her, but I thought she did a fantastic job. And I actually did have the cast pulled up, so I can say, Thandie Newton, I believe is how you say her first name, so she did a fantastic job as well. Now to talk about, I believe I said the wrong name earlier for some reason, but Jon Favreau, I believe is how I don't even know how to pronounce his last name, but he is the director of Iron Man. In his character, I thought was, a good, he, with his forearms and all this and that, and I love the voice that he did for it, which he basically used his own voice, but I think he changed it a little bit. Yeah, so sorry if I accidentally said the wrong name earlier. I don't even know, but, yeah, I thought he had a little bit of humor, to add, even though there was a lot of humor in this, which was great, and I love that, and it's very fitting for a Han Solo movie. But his character added a little bit more humor, so that was very nice, and I really did like that. So he did a great job, and it was sad that he died, but just happens. Next, I want to talk about Paul Bettany's character, and the other aspects of the villains and Enfys Nest and stuff like that. So, Paul Bettany, I thought he did a great job. I really liked the way his character acted. He seemed like a sophisticated, very smart individual, with style, of course, and obviously a bad guy, but with a lot of respect for a bad guy. You know, not very... He is brutal, obviously, because the first time we see him, he is just getting done stabbing someone, so he is definitely a bad guy, but, you know, I thought he did a fantastic job. We really never got to know what the things were on his face, but we can just go ahead and assume maybe they were some type of tattoo. Because at first I thought, that looks like a scar, but then just, like, looking at it, the way it was just kind of down on his face, it looked like a tattoo to me, but, you know, maybe it's some kind of burn or shock scar that looks very strange, because he did have those blades, and maybe it's from something like that. Who knows? But I guess we probably won't know unless it is... They will definitely have a visual guide, so when there's a visual guide, it will definitely talk about those, and then we will know, and I will probably be on Star Wars Theory's channel, so definitely go check out his videos. And if you aren't already, you're missing out. So go Star Wars Theory right now and go subscribe if you haven't. But yeah, so he'll probably go over that and you know, the guide, the Star Wars solo Star Wars story guide or ultimate guide or, you know, whatever. But yeah, so we'll be able to figure that out. And, you know, overall I thought he was great. And speaking of his character, he was a collector of things, and that was obvious. And I loved to see the things in the background that we got to see, like the Mandalorian armor, which also was depicted. It was a burgundy color, and it had a samurai look to the chest and shoulders, which I loved, and I love samurai. If you guys don't know, never really mentioned on here, but samurai, extremely interesting, and I love burgundy. That really dark red is what burgundy is, if you guys don't know. I'm pretty sure most people do. But, yeah, I really do love that color for armor in general, and it especially looks good on samurai armor. So, yeah, I thought that looked fantastic. And there was a lot of other cool, like, jewels and statues and stuff, but one that stood out was, obviously, and I'll just quickly, like, pull it up real quick on here, was the little golden altar, which, well, statue, I guess, that Indiana Jones, you know, Harrison Ford himself, snatched from a tomb in Raiders of the Lost Ark. So, yeah, that was... I was so happy that they threw that in there. And I think you guys know what I'm talking about. But, you know, I was going to find another picture of it on here. But, yeah, you guys know what little statue I'm talking about. And it was awesome because it was in the background. And it, you know, it's just great. I noticed it instantly when the scene came on. And it showed Paul Bettany's character sitting down with Kira. And I noticed that. I was like, whoa, wait, what? And I pointed and... Yeah, I don't know, it was exciting, it was cool that they gave a little nod to Indiana Jones, so also Harrison Ford, so that was fantastic. Next I would want to start talking about is Enfys Nest, which I will also go into more depth in the movie and not just talk about the characters. So Enfys Nest, at first, everybody thought she was going to be the main she, because a lot of people actually knew she was a she, that a female would be playing her, but maybe some people probably thought maybe that was just for size, and maybe it was actually a guy, and they were never going to reveal their face, but actually there was more to the character, and we figure out that the character is actually good. You know, she has a band of her pirates, mercenaries, as they are called, but really they are not. They are pretty much, in a way, Avengers. They're trying to avenge, what has happened to them and their families and stuff like that. So in a way, they're a small group of, their own Avengers, I guess. But, just the actual definition of Avenger, which is why the Avengers from Marvel are called Avengers. But, I actually thought that was really cool. I, to be honest, when I thought that she would be the main villain, was a little disappointed. I was like, we don't know who this character is. It'd be cool to explore, but I kind of wanted to see someone where, so Paul Bettany's character, which my original thoughts was to where he was actually gonna hire Han Solo to do something, but I never really thought he would be the actual bad guy. But, turns out she was good, and we actually get to see, her face and stuff, and, very unique girl she is, and I thought she did a great job, and whoever the actress is, they did great choice. And also her band. One thing that excited me, but that I bet didn't excite many people, is one of the people in her mercenary group or small group of Avengers, whatever you want to call it, was a Rhodian, which we have not seen a Rhodian since, I believe, Star Wars 3, maybe? Or Star Wars 2, like, on screen. And that excites me because I like seeing old creatures, and I really wish they would bring more creatures, like, in, 7 and 8, I wish there's been, Rhodians in the background and stuff and all that, but there isn't, and it kind of disappoints me. And then some of the other creatures that we're used to seeing randomly in the originals, I just wish they were, present more, because they're definitely not extinct or anything, so, I really wish they would have more original aliens in the new movies as well, just as they did in the originals. So that was exciting for me. I thought it was pretty cool just to see one. It was very unique. It was green with yellow, and it had the long, the mohawk little tendril things on the top of that, and they were kind of long and unique looking. And you don't really get to see them for that long, but it's it was good enough for me to even be able to see a Rhodian on screen again is pretty exciting and cool. Okay, so next thing I want to talk about in the movie as a whole and stuff like that, and then I'm going to dive deeper into another part of the film, which really excited me.
So, in the movie in general, there are a lot of aspects that I love, like the Kessel Run, that was great, and the Lucky Dice, and just things like that, and where he got his blaster. And even I thought that the his last name being Solo, actually in Legends, Solo was actually his family name, his last name, if I'm remembering correctly. But in this movie, he did not know his last name. He didn't really know his parents. He's always been alone, and I actually kind of liked that. At first, I kind of a little bit thought, well, that's kind of strange, but it actually made sense to me, and I really did like that they did that. But now to talk about one of the things that a lot of people were talking about before the movie came out is who was going to make a cameo appearance. At first, I thought it was going to be Boba Fett, but I wasn't too sure. I knew they were going to make a Boba Fett movie, and maybe they could go off of that, have him in the movie, and then, go from there, just, not do another Han Solo movie, but just go right off the bat and just do a Boba Fett movie. I actually thought Darth Vader could have made an appearance, considering in the trailer we get and in the movie obviously, but in the trailer for seeing the movie, they are being chased by a Imperial Star Destroyer, and, there could have been a chance Darth Vader was on that, and, just speculation before seeing the movie, people knew they were going to have encounters with the Empire for sure, so Darth Vader could have been one of those, but obviously not the case. One of the next people I thought could have shown up was Admiral Thrawn. He takes some tough, jobs, for the Empire, which I think is pretty fitting, considering he does go after people, in Rebels, if you guys have seen Star Wars Rebels. If not, it's pretty good, but if you're not like a cartoon person, that watches cartoons and whatever, but I think it's pretty good, and he is going after their squad, Ezra and Kanan and all of them. So he is making a point to go after them and stop what they're doing. So I thought him being in it wouldn't be too far from, the way Admiral Thrawn is and what he does. So that would have been pretty cool. But obviously not the case. And I a little bit thought that maybe Boss could have had an appearance. He was actually mentioned at one point. So that was pretty cool. And so was Jabba the Hutt. He was also mentioned. And I feel like I'm forgetting someone. I think someone else was mentioned, but I cannot remember them right now. But yeah, I thought maybe Boss could have made maybe a cameo background appearance or something. But, I just really badly want to see Boss back on the big screen. And with the effects and stuff like that they have now, it'd be so cool to get to see him do as much action as he does in Star Wars The Clone Wars, with the jumping around and snarling that we definitely did not get in the originals. But now that we have the technology and the CGI and stuff, it'd be awesome to get a nice, maybe part in a movie where Boss just like picks someone up and throws them, or hits someone with his claws and opens up that big gaping mouth with all those teeth and just shows them like we get in Star Wars The Clone Wars a few times. So that would have been cool, but obviously not the case. I also thought Obi-Wan could have made an appearance. The only way I thought is like maybe they would, something Star Wars has never done, had a post-credit scene and like show Obi-Wan on Tatooine, or it could have been like maybe before seeing the movie I thought maybe it could have been something like, I don't know, Han Solo's ship goes overhead and it just shows Obi-Wan from behind looking up at the ship, maybe they crash on Tatooine. I don't really know, but I didn't have, I didn't really think that Ewan McGregor or Obi-Wan would pop up in this movie. I kind of thought that maybe they would just have more of the essence that, oh, whoa, that's Obi-Wan, but not actually show his face. But, again, not the case. And the biggest one that I thought would show up in this movie was Jabba. He was mentioned, he said in the trailer, he says it, but who is he referring to? You get it in the movie. And, big time gangster, and putting together a crew. That is Jabba the Hutt, who he's talking about. And if the case is that we get 2 more solo movies, or even just 1 more, we will definitely be seeing Jabba the Hutt, if that is the case. And I really do hope it is. And like I said, I thought this movie was fantastic. And I hope to get as much as we can from Han Solo movies and stuff. So, again, not the case. In the beginning, we thought the big bad guy that we were going to see throughout the entire movie that was going to wreck everything Solo and the rest of the crew were trying to do was going to be Enfys Nest. Obviously, not the case. And then we get, Dryden Voss, which we instantly can tell is a bad guy. But maybe Han Solo's just working for him. But then he, seems like he is the big bad guy. But we get hints that he is working for someone, and that someone is Darth Maul. Of all people in this movie that could have shown up, that I thought was going to show up, I never really thought Darth Maul would end up in this movie. I could not think any way like how they would put him in. I remember hearing people talk about maybe Darth Maul's in it and this and that, and I was like, nah, that'd be cool, but I can't see how they would do it. But they did it, and they did a fantastic job at it, and I really, really loved it. And I just got extremely, starstruck for seeing, Darth Maul again in a movie. The last time we saw him in person, on the big screen was in The Phantom Menace, which, by most Star Wars fans was probably the worst Star Wars movie. And if I were to rate Star Wars movie, I would say it is, but it's not a bad movie. I really don't think it's a bad movie. But, Darth Maul is probably one of the best things about it. And Ray Park playing Darth Maul, then and even now, as he did, but they obviously made him look older. And there are some people who didn't get, there's probably some people out there that have never seen Star Wars or Clone Wars and heard of stuff that happened, but, he lived. So there are videos explaining that and stuff, and if you are one of those people, then you probably might want to crawl out of that, underneath that rock that you're living on because, just, I feel like anybody should have heard about, Darth Maul surviving the, getting his legs chopped off or cut in half. So, yeah. But in the movie, Ray Park does play him, and from what we could tell, the makeup looked great, and something even better than not just Ray Park playing him, but Sam Witwer doing the voice was amazing. I have thought if Darth Maul ever ended up in a movie, I thought maybe he'd get his own movie or something, and I thought, how would they do that? Because people are so used to, especially people that watch the Clone Wars, they're so used to Sam Witwer's voice, and it's so iconic to the character, actually, more than Ray Park's voice, which he barely even talks. He just kind of has a whisper in The Phantom Menace, and he says, I think, maybe like 2 or 3 things throughout the entire movie, maybe not even that. Maybe just one thing that I can actually remember off the top of my head. But either way, Sam Witwer, to me, he is Darth Maul. I think Ray Park is just as much Darth Maul, but the character is in the voice, and Sam Witwer does a fantastic job at that, and I'm so happy that they brought 2 and 2 together and made this happen. So here are a couple images of Darth Maul, and you can really tell that he is gotten old. The last time we saw Darth Maul, if you guys keep up with Star Wars and stuff, Rebels, we knew he was in his, I believe he was 61, 62 in that movie. I think 61, actually, is when Darth Maul is killed by Obi-Wan, but it's nice to see him again in this movie, which it would be 5 years before that, I believe. But Darth Maul would have been 56 in this movie. So, and you can really see the aging in Darth Maul here, and just, always the pure, anger and evilness that comes with the look of Darth Maul. And his look also, which I will get to more in a minute, I thought was great, and his stance, the way he's just like, you tell he's sitting on something. In the robotic legs, I thought was just fantastic. It was just great, and the way he brought over the lightsaber, and just asserting his dominance and stuff, and telling Qi'ra to get to him, which for sure, I can almost say for certain, we are going to see Darth Maul again. Maybe they will make a Solo: A Star Wars Story 2, but I don't think it would be called that. As other people have speculated, it'll probably be called something else, but I think it will definitely be centered around Han Solo, and maybe we'll even get to see Darth Maul and Han Solo on, just even talking together. Who even knows? Anything could happen at this point. If Darth Maul shows up in a Solo movie, in a movie that you would not expect him to, I believe that is a chance of happening. In ending the movie like they did, I don't think they're done showing Darth Maul. We're probably going to get a lot more Darth Maul. So, that's going to be fantastic. But anyway, I think the look they're going for, these are actually Savage Opress concept arts for the Clone Wars, but I think this look was pretty much, I don't think they went off of this, but that's kind of the appearance that we get, because he's kind of a mix between this here minus the top, I'm more talking about the leg half of this, and what we get in Rebels, and not necessarily what he's wearing, but the top half is kind of a mix between the Phantom Menace and what he is wearing in the Clone Wars, which I think is pretty great. So, great choice on their part there. And the lightsaber that he has was actually, if I remember correctly, it was Savage Opress's in the Clone Wars, which he eventually, took as his own. And it's, somewhat, as you can see down there, a little bit resembles the Inquisitor lightsabers. So I think that is just great that they, added that in there and you get to see it in more realistic. But if he is in future movies, we will definitely be able to get to see this lightsaber, in just as exciting, obviously, him in full HD in complete action, live action Darth Maul. At least I hope so. But I guess I won't get too excited about it, so I guess we'll just have to find out in the future. But obviously, the stick was not on there, so yeah, that's later in Rebels. But yeah, so I thought this was extremely exciting, and obviously another thing, Han Solo has his scar. I think in this movie, I didn't really notice all that well, but in this picture you can kind of see it. But in the movie, I wasn't really looking out for it all that much. I was too focused on the movie and stuff. But yeah, so what I think of Solo Star Wars Story, I thought that it was fantastic and kind of underrated before it was seen, and a lot of people, obviously either have a problem with Star Wars movies nowadays in general, or they just, didn't really want to see anybody portray Han Solo other than Harrison Ford, which I get, but if you're one of those people, please give this movie a chance. It is great, and Alden Ehrenreich does a fantastic job as Han Solo, as well as the other characters. And real quick, I didn't really talk about him, but Chewbacca, the reason why I didn't really talk about him as much is because, he's just in a lot of movies, and he's pretty much, but it was nice to see him in more action and do some of the things that we always heard and talked about in the other movies, like ripping someone's arms off, which he rips someone's arms off in this movie. He also slams a guy's head into the ground, and it's just fantastic. I really like that, and I liked that him and Han Solo actually fought the first time they met, so that was great. But all in all, that is going to conclude my Solo: A Star Wars Story movie review. And sorry if this was too long, but I had a lot to talk about, and I will definitely be doing more movie reviews in the future. And like, comment, and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Bye.